Okay, that's right, because if we don't have people like us to eat chocolate, then we'll never know if it's good.
Right, right.
Most people that make chocolate, they inherently think all of their chocolate is good. But we can be the judge of that. Susan, where are you? You're here.
I'm in Hilo.
Awesome. I think I've met you before. You're at CTAR?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for sharing all these chocolates. Stacy, I'm a chocolate eater.
Excellent. What's your favorite kind?
Oh, I like chocolates with nuts in them.
Maybe next tasting we'll do a nutty one for the nut lovers. And Mo, who's Mo?
Here, me and my husband Ken were out in Haloaloa on the Big Island.
Oh, right on. Cool. And you guys got your chocolate okay?
We sure did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys grow any cacao?
We have a few, yes. We have like 3 acres, or we're actually going to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we haven't done anything with it.
Yeah.
It's just naturally occurring. So same thing with the coffee. It just seems to be here. So we need to figure out a plan.
Yeah. Value added is the way to go.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. And Pam. Hi, Pam.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. I'm in Ewa Beach on Oahu.
Oh, right on. Cool.
Yeah.
And how did you hear about it?
How did I? Maybe I've done a number of other Eventbrite, Zoom webinars. Kohana Rum here on Oahu is doing some tastings via Eventbrite. So I think I'm just added to the list of folks who might be interested maybe in local foods. Yeah. And I'm a chocolate lover, so it was perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you realize that the Manoa bar won some awards. So we'll talk about that.
Yes, I've had their chocolate. Yeah, really good.
All right. And Tiara, hi.
Hi, I'm calling in from Monterey, California.
Awesome. I've been there. And how did you find out about it?
Was just cruising looking for chocolate tasting events, and actually went to the restaurant that's next to Manoa. I had no idea Manoa was there at the time. And really looking forward to going back now because there's so many more other chocolates to taste in the islands. So Thank you for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's a joy to bring it all together. Eileen. Eileen's back there. Hi.
Yeah.
Hey. Hey.
San Rafael, California, just north of San Francisco.
I know San
We love
Rafael.
Marathon because we've got 3 households who are meeting safely together to celebrate anniversaries and birthdays. And we found out about you guys on an Eventbrite newsletter that came out.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for celebrating with us. Happy birthday and happy anniversary. And what is that, a crown on the person? That's awesome. It's kind of dark and chocolate, but I think I see there's many bodies there. Cool. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey.
So,
where are you?
I'm just here. I'm on my lanai. My daughter, reason this is why my daughter is here visiting from, you met her at, I think, 2 years ago at the EHCA Christmas party.
Yes, nice to see you.
She's here, so she's going to help me taste with me.
Good.
But we're still doing the COVID, she arrived last week, so we're keeping our spacing and not breathing on each other indoors. So that's why I have this gap between me and her off screen.
Thanks for being legal. All righty. Okay, Jacqueline. Hi. I can't hear you. Click and move. Hi, can you click unmute, Jacqueline?
Might be on their phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you
Hi,
go.
sorry, we were having some technical difficulty. How are you? I missed everything. We were not able to hear well. This is Jacqueline, and we're in Seattle.
Awesome. Cool. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And do your chocolate make it okay?
Yes, it's right here. We're excited.
We are excited.
And for those who have kind of trickled in, if you haven't already, please grab your chocolate and please grab a glass of water and a pen and your notes.
Okay, thank you.
All these things. Thank you.
Maddie, I just want to say this is just a really nice selection of chocolate. I was really impressed with how much chocolate we get to eat.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys are all
just a really nice packet too, all the materials that you put it together. So
Thank
looking
you.
forward to that.
Yeah, Sarah here helped me a lot. We spent one Saturday just busting it out, and I'm glad that everybody received their package because with the holiday there was a little concern there. Yeah. Okay, I don't have a name for you guys, but you're next.
Say Josh.
Josh?
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Josh. Oh, is that Stephanie?
Yes.
Hi. Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you too.
And remind me, where are you?
Omaha, Nebraska.
That's right. Awesome. And you guys got your chocolate okay?
We did. It came yesterday, and
Perfect.
yeah.
So part of the timing is we wanted to make sure it wasn't sitting around for you guys to drool over too long before we did this, because we wanted to make sure there was actually chocolate by the time we started. Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you guys could join us. And let's see, it's 1 o'clock here. What time is it for you? 5 or 6?
5, yep.
Okay, good. So this is a good time. It's not too late.
Chocolate for dinner.
Chocolate for breakfast, chocolate for dinner, chocolate all the time. We're going to get a little chocolate wasted today. So
Sam?
it'll be good. Sam?
Hi,
Hi. Where are you?
I'm in Weston, Connecticut.
Wow.
I'm very excited to join you guys. Unfortunately, I think my chocolate's probably not going to arrive till Monday, but I still wanted to log on and chat with you guys. Oh,
we'll have a replay.
Long way away.
Yeah, it is a long way away, but thank you for showing up anyway. And we'll include this replay and we'll email it to you guys. So when you do get your chocolate, you can follow back along. And
definitely.
It might be, you know, now that I think about it, during other chocolate tastings I've held, it's kind of a little bit of, what's the word, placebo, because as we start talking flavors and you're listening to everybody else's notes and then you taste your chocolate in a couple of days, then you'll be like, hopefully you forget what we said.
Fair enough.
So we'll go over some ground rules here. All right. And thank you, Sam, for showing up. And what time is it for you?
It's 6 o'clock.
6. Okay. Right on. So chocolate for dinner. Not bad. And Lisa. Lisa number 2.
Hi.
Hi. Where are you calling in from today?
Calling in from Waimea.
Oh, you're close.
Yeah.
You must know Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. And you got your chocolate okay, I hope?
I did. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all we have with us for now. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think we go ahead and get started.
Okay, everybody about ready? We're going to jump right in. And we've all got our materials, our tasting sheet, our flavor wheel, and a pen. And hopefully you have all of your chocolate bars. So what we're going to start with first is we'll just kind of lay down some understanding of chocolate itself. And it's actually quite sweet that my sister is here because little does she know, she's part of this story. And when we were 5 years old, we lived in this little town called Oakland, California. And we started to make this dessert that was called toffee. And our mom convinced us that it was a secret family recipe. And we thought we had something really special. And all of our friends and family wanted these treats that we'd make them for Christmas, only if they were on the nice list, of course. and everybody begged us to know the recipe, and we of course could not give it up because this was our secret family recipe, only to find out later on that it was just cut from the newspaper from Oakland that was public and common knowledge. But nobody knew that, and nobody really ever duplicated our recipe from what we saw. But now there's really good toffee companies coming out, and they make really good stuff. So I don't have to make toffee anymore. You can buy it at the store. But that's another tasting, because some toffee makers use single origin chocolate. And starting with our first bar from Manoa, they did just win a gold award, and other chocolate companies and toffee companies can enter into these sort of contests too. So that would be an interesting tasting in the future. But when I wanted to move to Hawaii, it probably started when I was about, I don't know, 7 years old. And I visited when I was 13, and I always wanted to make it back here to live. And then when I finally decided it was time, someone told me that we can grow cacao here. And I was like, why isn't anybody doing farm tours? Like, everybody wants to meet the tree and smell the flowers and touch the plant and eat the fresh fruit and, you know, really know what this tree is all about, because it's so foreign to us, right? It's from so far away. You know, we don't live near it. We don't interact with it all the time. We don't see the fruit in the stores. We don't even know that chocolate comes from a fruit. And so when I moved here, I started to do these farm tours, and it was a blast because I could blow people's minds in front of my face, and they would just get to taste this fruit, and it would just taste so unique. And it's almost like a mangosteen. Or who here has not had cacao fruit? One. Cool. Well, two. And I don't know. Oh, wait, there's a lot of arms in Eileen's room. Yeah. So it's a fruit that's fantastic, and it's hard to get to because it's rare and it grows in these obsolete, tropical, not obsolete, but far away tropical places. And here in Hawaii, we are so lucky because we get to interact with the fruit all the way to the end process of a chocolate bar. So during that harvest time, you know, these trees, they can grow anywhere from 30 to 40 feet tall. They can be anywhere from up to maybe 200 years old is what we have recorded. I kind of like to push the envelope on things, and I think that they're probably older trees than 200-year-old cacao trees, but, you know, hard to say. I think of cacao in Hawaii as really a big experiment and a fun one because it's delicious and people love it, and it's just such a magical fruit. So the other part of my chocolate story here is cacao is also something that is highly imperative to, I think, your imagination. Hence the Willy Wonka song, all about pure imagination. And if we think about our chocolate experiences, a lot of us probably have some pretty sweet chocolate experiences from when we were children, when we were really imaginative, right? And being highly imaginative allows us to feel more like we're in our childlike self, and we're playful, and life is fun, and life is also magical. And believe it or not, it opens up our heart, and it opens up our mind to these different places that we otherwise couldn't connect to. Hence the name, you know, Theobroma Cacao. And I'm sure most of you guys in here, especially if you're seeking out chocolate tastings, you understand that translation is food of the gods. So if we want to treat ourselves like a god or a goddess or whatever can you guys hear me okay? Okay, cool. Whatever you want to be, you know, the cacao can kind of act as a driver for your dreams. So this right here, believe it or not, all of you people, you're experiencing my dream. Thank you. So thanks for showing up, and thanks for loving chocolate. And I'm so honored that I get to present to you such a beautiful array, like Lisa pointed out, of these beautifully crafted chocolate bars. You know, the packaging is beautiful, and we get to go through kind of a flight of chocolate here. So let's jump right in. We're gonna start with the Oahu Island Manoa Chocolate Mililani bar. This bar just won 2 gold awards, and those were presented from the Northwest Chocolate Festival, the Chocolate Awards Alliance, or Chocolate Alliance Awards. It's CAA, but this bar won a gold award for best dark chocolate, as well as best chocolate made at origin. So in the world of chocolate, when we think about a Hershey's bar, that chocolate that is inside of that bar, A, we all know it's very minimal, but B, we know it's not the best quality, and C, we don't really know all of the places where those beans were grown, right? It could come from Africa, part of it could come from Ecuador, or it could come from Indonesia, it could come from all over these different growing regions. But this bar is special because just like wine, we're highlighting a single origin of what that terroir is like, and that can really highlight, you know, the endless potential of flavor profiles and dynamics here from this island, because on Big Island alone, we have what, 11 of 13 microclimates in the world. Like we have 11 of them. We're only missing Arctic and the other one. But the point is that we have different weather patterns in every area. So the sun, the wind, the soil, you know, how are these trees being treated? When are they being harvested? How is that fermentation going? You know, fermentation, you ferment cacao beans? Sure do. You need to ferment them so that they can develop their flavor. And let's taste this bar and start talking about flavor so I can stop taunting you with them. So I'd like everybody's on mute. You can keep yourselves on mute, or you can join or raise your hand if you'd like to speak. But my point is don't share out loud, especially for those of you who have other people that you're doing this tasting with. Don't share yet what you taste, because we're all going to taste different things depending on what you had for breakfast or lunch, and what flavor your gum is, and what flavor that drink was. But just take a little bite, rub it on the roof of your mouth, let it kind of interact and get melty, and then there should be a little dance that happens on your palate, and you have this beautiful flavor wheel. So please, there's no trick in using this other than just following your intuition. If you think it tastes like X, then it tastes like X to you. If you think it tastes like this color, maybe there's something in truth to that color and that flavor that you're feeling in there. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's really just your own experiment. It's your own sense of what your senses are informing your mouth and your body. And you might find a chocolate that you love in here, and you might find a chocolate you hate. But the point is that we're exercising how your palate interacts with this chocolate. And I did want to caveat to that, if anybody has other beverages other than wine, that's totally fine too, because that was also an invitation if you wanted to pair it with your choice of adult beverage. The interaction between, like Mo's person there is doing, I don't know your name, sorry, but the interaction and the nuances between the different flavor profiles and that one beverage, you'll see it's different. So that's part of the experiment too. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you what I taste until everybody gives me the sign that they're, you know, complete on that. But I hope you like it, and I hope it makes sense to you. Maybe why this, yes, that's it. Ooh, how'd you do that thumbs up, Lisa? Do you guys know how to do those? Oh, there's reactions at the bottom of the screen. That's fun. You guys should use those, because then you can give a heart if you love it, or if you're laughing at me, or if you're, oh my gosh, I can't believe she said that, or a party. I'm going to do a party.
Mouth party.
Yeah, party in your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully you've taken some notes by now. You're not just laughing and eating chocolate, but you found something on this flavor wheel that resonates with what you're experiencing. And I will, obviously this is for coffee, but it's transferable, okay? Does anybody have any questions? Am I going too fast? We're good? Okay. So in this bar, you can smell it, you can enjoy it. There's textures to it. You either like it, you're kind of confused. Since when did chocolate taste so fruity? but it's different, right? This is a 70% bar grown in Mililani, Oahu, and it has very intense notes. On the flavor wheel, even though, like I said, it's for coffee, there are some descriptors of the body there that's obviously describing a liquid. But the heavier areas, you know, or any part of that body texture you see over here on the side, that can also help describe what you feel in your mouth. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick on Steph, since I know she's thinking really hard and taking really good notes about what she's tasting. What do you taste? You're on mute still.
Okay, so we tasted banana and cinnamon.
Okay, yeah.
And I saw orange when I tasted it, whatever that may mean. We just thought it was really smooth, fruity, tart, bright.
Yep, and you guys make chocolate too, yeah?
Correct.
In the texture, how do you like the texture?
Very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really smooth. Has anybody here, I know a couple people said maybe they'd been to the chocolate factory. Has anybody been to the Manoa Chocolate Factory? We have. You have. Cool. So inside that chocolate factory, they use what's called a ball mill. And the ball mill is, pardon my French, the shit, because it gets it so smooth. It's literally in a tornado of what I imagine to be like BBs, like for a BB gun. And so all that surface area around that circle is hitting all the other circles and breaking up those particle sizes to be so refined that normally the machinery that they would use would be a stone grinder, you know, which is a granite wheel. It's kind of like a mechanized mortar and pestle. And if you think about a granite wheel, there's bumps in it, right? It's not completely smooth. So you're not gonna, it's almost impossible to get that level of refinement from that machine. So the machines that are involved in each of these processes will make a big difference in that final product. So did anybody else want to share on what they pulled out of this delicious Manoa chocolate bar? Okay.
Sure. I'll say that I thought I tasted berry, and then I was looking at all these possibilities, and I came up with raspberry. That was
There you go. Right on. Perfect. Thanks, Susan. Anybody else like to share what they tasted out of that chocolate bar?
Sure. I found it very smooth and velvety.
Mm-hmm.
And they were definitely going over the coffee side. It had a very, it was balanced and rounded, very deep flavors to it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick a whatever fruit or vegetable, I would say it was kind of a deep cherry, maybe even currant notes to it, date maybe, but it wasn't tart. Baker's chocolate. Sugary, very, you know, there was a lot of brown sugar, caramel, buttery, creamy notes to it. It was just really nice chocolate.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
I'll share.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the raspberry too.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely, and I kind of had like a little bit of the Jamaica or the hibiscus kind of tartness as well, with like almost a hint of green apple at a certain point, and like then there's more of like this spicy note, like a nutmeg for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like really super smooth, like a little oily to start until it got melted. It was kind of almost like kind of that same texture as like the cream in an Oreo on top of your mouth for a second, and then once it warmed up a little bit more, then that cacao butter melted, and yeah, that's what I got.
Right on. Okay, cool. Anyone else? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I tasted the cinnamon too. For me, it was like fruity cinnamon and then kind of like raisins, but super first that I couldn't identify, but I really liked it.
Yeah, thank you. I got a little bit of clove and spice myself. Did anybody else get any pear or citrus? And sometimes it's kind of fun to go back. You did, Lisa? Sometimes it's fun to go back and try and find those flavors. Like now that we've identified a few that we've tasted, you can kind of go looking for them. You know, that's how I pick out wine. If I buy wine, I read the back label and I'm like, normally I know I like a Cabernet Sauvignon because it's thick and heavy bodied and sweet and tastes like berries. It goes really well with chocolate. But I read those descriptors on the back because I want to taste those. Like that's, you know, I don't. So you can look for them is all I'm saying. Okay, cool. Do you want to share what you tasted?
Yeah, I think as what other people said, you know, very jammy, creamy, really heavy on the like the berry dried fruit. I think I got a mix of like black currant, blueberry, raisin, really strongly. Yeah, it's really, it's my favorite chocolate, or Manoa is my favorite kind of chocolate.
They're a great maker. Okay, so let's see. Let's move right along to the 75. And this should be your yellow bar. These are really fun. This is a sweet, really small farm. They're over on the Big Island here where we are on the other side in Kealakekua. There's my nephew, Henry. He's so cute. He's shy, so nobody say hi to him. And it's made by this man, Ken Melrose, and he just took it upon himself to do it all. So this is a really special bar because you can't buy these in stores. You can really only get them from him at farmers markets or direct. And let's dive in. So this is a 2.2 ounce bar, and you can open it up and you'll notice that he's had his own mold made, which is pretty special. This is the Primavera tree. It's a tree that grows here in Hawaii. And it normally blooms yellow flowers if you recognize it. So he has the 5 stars on his logo. It represents him and his wife on one side, and the 3 other stars are his 3 children, which also has a dual meaning, which also represents his 5 grandchildren. So cheers to that. And we'll check back in with you guys in a couple bites.
Wow.
Very different. Worlds apart. Okay. Can I get some reactions here? Let's use these fun buttons again. What did we think about? I'm gonna give it a clap. Okay, Christina, what did you taste?
Nuts.
Nuts. Very nutty.
Hey, I kind of felt like I tasted coffee, which is obviously not on your coffee chart, but is that like a flavor people report?
It's impossible.
It's impossible?
Just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Totally possible. Yeah, it can taste like anything. It doesn't have to be on the wheel. It can taste like rocks. There is this, but that's a good. There's a show on Netflix called Somm, or Amazon. Did anyone watch Somm? Somme. It's about the road to becoming a wine sommelier. And they taste notes like forest floor and moss. So, nuts. Thank you. Anybody else care to share? What did you find? What did you think?
I tasted, my first impression was wood right away, and then cereal after that, like kind of eating a bowl of Cheerios, or so it had that kind of not sweet, but just the grainy flavor. And then I looked on the wheel and saw that you had grain on there. I would say, yeah, like Cheerios or maybe barley graham. Not sweet at all, though.
Yeah, and that's what are we at? A 75. So a 75 should be still considered a sweeter. Any other feedback from you guys?
Something, yeah. I totally got the graham cracker like straight away, just like that, almost really that richness, grain, kind of bready toast, like almost like a nice toast with butter on it or something like that. Very deep, dark, and then like a little bit of like vanilla soil in that for me.
I got burnt sugar, hazelnut and butter. It was such a different flavor from like the fruity one. And I looked at the back and it's the exact same in ingredients in each of them, but it was such an extreme difference in flavor. It's really great to taste them side by side.
Yeah, and thanks for pointing that out. She's right, you guys. If you notice, all of these bars are just beans and sugar, and some have added a little bit of cocoa butter and maybe a little lecithin, but there's no other ingredients. Yeah, what did you taste?
I immediately got the nutty and the graham, and then on the barley side, I really felt like it tasted like roasted barley and some soy sauce, and yeah, definitely that cereal flavor.
Soy sauce cereal. Anybody else? Susan?
I was trying for some flavor, and I just came up with dark chocolate. It was kind of chewy rather than so smooth and silky as the last one. And I came up with my flavor was smoky, I guess. That's what I came up with.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of nodding. We do taste that smoke. Yeah. What about you guys in that big room with Eileen?
Come on.
I guess
Get in there.
Annie's gonna go.
Annie. Okay. Annie.
Oh.
Yeah, what do you say, Annie?
We're a split group here.
I agree with the graham and the hazelnut. Definitely.
Yep.
Some of us got more savory though. We kind of had like a smoked wood and tomato. I know, real weird, but that's what it tasted like to us.
Oh, right.
Nothing wrong with that. Smoked wood tomato. It's all, it's true. It's just an experiment because there's no right or wrong answer. It's so subjective. And like I said, everything that, leftovers from Thanksgiving, they're all impacting our different palates. Cool. Thank you, guys. Who else would like to share on that one? Or not? I'll tell you what I tasted. I think it tasted a little, I didn't want to say barnyard, but like hay, kind of like in that grainy pecan, bittersweet chocolate. I got some barley and I did get a little wood, but then as other people were saying what they were tasting and I was still tasting a secondary bite, then I could like taste all of your guys' notes too about, more of the cereal grains and the creaminess. Like it was getting a little caramely and sugary and creamier on my second bite. So don't let your first bite fool you, go back for seconds and thirds because it will change. And all right, well, that's good on the Primavera bar. Let's go into Honoka'a Chocolate. Is that correct? I'm wrong, I skipped. We're at Pauuilo. So this is our 80%. And this is a great bar. This is created by Josh Yang. And he sells these at a couple different locations here on the Big Island. You can also look for him on Etsy. And by the way, at the end of this tasting, I'm taking orders. If you guys do have chocolates that you love and you do want to either gift more or for yourself, but we'll do that at the end. Okay, so Pauuilo Chocolate. This is grown here on the Big Island in Pauuilo, and he harvests all his own beans from a farm on his property, but then another farm as well. So this is where it gets interesting, because as these farmers are taking care of their own trees, they're also the one responsible for the fermentation, as you tasted in that second bar. The people responsible for the fermentation in our first bar, in the Manoa bar, was the farmer, not the chocolate maker. So as good as this bar is, as great as this bar is, you know, there's different nuances in the stories behind these other bars that kind of paint more to it than what meets the eye, right? So let's jump right in. Comes like this, and you can see he kind of mimicked the print from the bar on the packaging. I like those kind of tie-ins. I think that's fun. This is a 0.88 ounce bar, so it is, I like the thickness of it. It's not too thick. You know, personally, eating chocolate with different thicknesses is a different effect in your mouth. And it's just, you know, personal preference. So again, to reiterate, this is all Hawaiian cacao and just Hawaiian cane sugar. So somehow he scored excess Hawaiian cane sugar. He's got stockpiles, I bet, because you can't get that anymore. Unless I'm wrong. This could happen. I think they finally got in. Oh wait, they left. And this bar is very different, yeah? Like night and day. Wow, I can't even put my finger on that. I don't even know what that is. That is some different flavor, huh? I don't even know if that's on the wheel. I don't know what it is. What is that? Almost. Okay. Josh and Steph, you guys on the Pauuilo bar too, yeah? Your internet's okay?
We have terrible internet.
Welcome to Hawaii, but you're not here. I don't know what that is. I don't know. You guys, I'm kind of stumped. How you doing on that bar?
Yeah, I don't know if I was trying to wait until everyone's got their flavor notes done.
Has everybody got their notes done? Looks like some people are still working. I just wrote one thing. I kind of am at a loss, to be honest.
Really exotic for sure. Just like I said, very different and exotic. It tasted like a fruity liqueur, something I might have had back in college days. And like we were drinking, they were called Beautifuls and Wonderfuls. I think there was Grand Marnier, Courvoisier, and Amaretto, various combinations. So there was some liqueur, like fruity liqueur thing going on. And then after the initial taste, I was getting exotic fruit like tamarind or lychee, mandarin orange. So
Uh-huh.
not a straightforward fruit, but an exotic fruit note to it.
Girl, you nailed it. Anybody else differ from that?
I'll go. I tasted peach and nectarine. and then I tasted caramel, and then I looked what's next to caramel, and it's two away from sugarcane, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe that's the flavor of sugarcane in it.
That's smart. Dry red wine. Yep. Anybody else care to share?
I got a taste of, like, it's kind of, there's some astringency, it's a little more of that bitter dryness. I got tobacco and kind of like a mushroom, almost like an earthy mushroom flavor with sugarcane. I got that too, Susan. And maybe like a cross between a dried fig and apricot, like dried apricot or something, but very low sugar versions of those.
Yeah, I definitely tasted more the astringent bitter quality to it. I didn't get anything fruity from it, but I kept on thinking it would be great with like a good fruity wine though, something to, but so different from the yellow bar. So.
Right, yeah, crazy different, right? So the only thing I could pin down was mandarin orange and a little bit of tamarind, but I was stumped there for a good couple bites. What about you?
I got green apple.
Green apple.
And raspberry and black tea.
Tannic. Yeah. What about you, Pam?
I didn't get any sweet notes or fruity notes at all. It was cocoa powder and cacao nibs were the first two kind of flavors that jumped out for me. It was very dry and powdery, so it kind of fit eating cacao nibs or having a spoonful of cocoa powder.
Yum.
Yeah.
Sweet. And how about you, Mo? I feel like have I met you guys before? I feel like I've seen you. You're on mute. I can't hear you, but there you go. Hi.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. We go up north quite a bit.
Maybe you guys were in Holualoa and I was putting my business cards on the board.
Oh, maybe.
Could be.
Anyway, did you taste anything?
Yeah, so we split.
Yeah.
I was on the earthy, herby, maybe a slightly savory. So somewhere between like the mushroom and the tobacco cedar. That's where I ended up, and very light in body. It was, I thought the texture on the tongue, it was sort of just that, just using the terminology here, it was silky and slick. It was very light on the tongue for me.
Yeah, it was light on the tongue for me also, but mine went straight to floral, and then it came a little citrus, and then a little bit of apple. So
there you go.
Enjoyable.
Wrong. Cool. Awesome. And Jacqueline and Chad. And then we get to Sam.
This one was unique. I mean, we've tried a lot of chocolate, and I don't think we've had anything like this. For me, it tasted more herbal. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but it reminded me maybe of like wheatgrass, you know, those little shots of wheatgrass that I haven't had for 10 years, but maybe that. And then you said...
I tasted the tobacco, rosemary. It didn't taste any fruity for me.
Yeah, no fruit.
It's very dry.
Dry.
Yeah, that's good.
We enjoyed it. Yeah, it was very different, which is great.
Okay, cool. Does anybody have any insight to why they might think it would taste drier than the other ones? Maybe what that effect would be from, Chris?
I noticed that this one's not tempered as well. It's a little more bloom on it. And so I think that probably made it feel a little more powdery in the mouth versus a nice solid type 5 crystal, something as smooth as this. This one probably has more cocoa butter in it too.
Yeah.
Like on the Manoa one versus this one.
Right.
That's my guess.
Part of that bloom hopefully wasn't there when we initially got the chocolate. Hopefully it was well tempered when we received it. Hopefully that's just a shipping error, but you're right. all of that, because the temper, if it gets out of temper, or maybe if it wasn't actually tempered to that category 5 crystal that he's talking about for the structure of the chocolate itself, which will give it a good mouthfeel. It'll look pretty because it'll be shiny, and it'll also have a good snap. So you can hear it when you snap it. It shouldn't be like fudgy or bend. You want, you want to be able to hear that. But what the second part of what you said was what I was going for is the, there's no cocoa butter in it. So there's no room for error a little bit. That cocoa butter gives it a little softening around the edges for any excess astringency. Like for those of you who cook, if you're cooking something really bitter or astringent, what are you going to add? Probably add fat of some kind to kind of like mellow it out. So if we think about that in terms of chocolate, because these flavor profiles are developed all the way from, when the tree was planted, the rain and the weather that happens to it, but then also in that fermentation process, the drying process and the roasting process and the grinding process and the tempering process. Like all of these things are going to affect every nuanced flavor profile in these bars. So this is a very in-depth product. As we're picking these up from the makers, they're handing them to me like they're pieces of gold. Like they're like pieces of artwork. Don't drop it. Like please be careful. These are precious. They're worth their weight in gold. So let's move along to, and sorry, Sam, I know I said I wanted to hear what you thought. And then she was like, she doesn't have her chocolate. And I was like, so soon.
Also,
Okay.
just want
Yes.
Holly was on mine that got it a little bloomed because mine was sitting in the sun before I found it. So the chocolate package got left out. So
That's the hardest part is, making sure it gets there intact and making sure it doesn't sit in the sun for too long. Okay, guys, well, good. It sounds like most people's chocolate arrived pretty good. And I've toyed with the idea of sending out ice packs, which might be a good idea, but might be an unnecessary cost. So let's jump into Honoka'a. That's our 85. And it's a beautiful bar. Let's see. Nice packaging. So shiny. Beautiful temper. I hope everybody else is tempered still too. And if anybody's been to Dandelion Chocolate in San Francisco, you'll recognize the mold. So these guys, they just won a silver award, not for this bar, for a different bar, for their goat milk bar. I don't know if we have any goat milk lovers. I personally am a goat cheese fan, goat milk, goat everything. But this bar itself, these beans are from just north of Hilo in the Hamakua coast, from a farm called Deep Dirt Cacao. And they have some videos on YouTube if you're interested in seeing how they treat those beans before they made it into your bar. But Mike Pollard, who makes these chocolates, has really taken his passion to the next level. And he's been able to transition full-time into being a self-taught chocolate maker. And that's pretty impressive because they do grow their own cacao and they make it with really high integrity. And you can tell that the product itself is beautiful and delicious. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to kind of think and taste. And also wanted to make the obvious point that the only difference between these bars, well, there's a few, is location on where they're grown and where they're made, and also the amount of sugar. Because as you can tell, we're going up from 70, 75, 80, 85, and then next we'll go into 90. So that just means that out of 100%, X% is how much cacao, and the other aspect would just be sugar. That's it. You guys starting to feel a little chocolate tipsy? Mo, what's your man's name? He doesn't have his name on there.
It's Ken.
Ken, Mo and Ken, drinking your red wine. What kind of red wine are you enjoying this afternoon, evening?
We are having a Hess from Napa, a nice little Cab Sauv, the best Costco has to offer.
That's right.
Just what they had on a Friday night when we remembered last night. We better go get a bottle.
And I am having Tawny Port.
Oh yes, and he's having port.
Wow, you guys are crushing it. Look at that pairing. Tawny Port's probably going to be really nice with the 90.
Yeah, he doesn't really like anything over 70%, even though 80% was his favorite so far.
Yeah.
So we thought we better get him a nice sweet port.
Are you changing someone's chocolate beliefs?
I think so.
Possibly.
Excellent. I didn't like dark. Oh, Christina, what do you have? We'll just live vicariously through everyone. Where'd you go? Oh, you went black on us. No drink there, huh?
Hey,
All right.
Maddie?
Huh?
Maddie, question. You said this was from Deep Dirt. Isn't that Clarence's farm?
Yes.
And this is her cacao?
Yes.
I didn't know. Okay.
Yes. Christina, what are you drinking? Cab Sav?
I believe it's a Petit Verdot from Livermore.
Got it. All right. Anybody else have a beverage they'd like to tell us about? I'm sure there's plenty in that room with Eileen and those party animals. They're hooping and hollering and we can't even hear them. Okay. What do you guys taste? Anyone?
We'll start. We're getting like toasted rice and like a deep roast bitter, but it still has a creamy kind of gummy texture to it.
Was yours in temper?
A little bit.
Yeah, the only bar that's been totally in temper was Manoa.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll go next. This one just tasted really buttery to me.
Buttery.
Buttery and honey and barley, graham crackers. Yep, this is like one of my favorites. I mean, the first one and this one are really good.
You had a good sense, Susan. Okay, who else?
I really tasted peanut butter, like really strong and peanut butter taste. And I kept trying to like convince Chris that he was tasting peanut butter too, but he's pretty sure he's not.
I don't like peanut butter, but there's some other taste I can't put my finger on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so familiar.
It really tastes like peanut butter to me.
Cute.
More of like a cheesy, like a brie or something like that. A melted mouthfeel.
Kind of like brie and peanut butter, right?
We'll mix brie and peanut butter together, but I got like there's this. I can taste the fermentation. You know, like the whatever their process was. I can taste it a little bit more. And then yeah, maybe it's. I will give you the peanut butter mouthfeel. Like it's very like full and it sticks to the roof of your mouth. So.
I can see. It's thick, yeah. And mine wasn't tempered today either. I mean, it's how hot here. It's like 80 all the time. So it's been in an air-conditioned room for a long time. It's pretty good, but it is a little soft in my hand and melting in my hand, but it's warm today. But I got a full-on mouth of toast. Just soft, mushy, chocolatey, yummy, delicious toast. And then Susan was like, butter, and I was like, ooh, butter on my toast. Yes. The peanut butter brie, I didn't taste that. I tasted a little bit of the peanut butter when you were talking about it. I didn't get the brie.
The first taste I got was hay.
Hay.
and then soil, like a hay soil taste, and then toast, and then cream. So.
Okay. Anyone else like to share?
Yeah, for me it was the cereal again, and a little more malty and cocoa powderish. So I think that again, without the cocoa butter, got a little more of that astringency and that real straightforward chocolate without as many notes as I think I get when there's some cocoa butter rounding it out.
Yeah, you're right, because I didn't realize there wasn't any cocoa butter, but there isn't in this one either. So good catch. Good eyes. Okay, what's going on in that party room, Eileen and co?
Yeah. We got burnt toast and then finished with hazelnut.
Yeah.
Raisin nuts.
Yum. Sounds like Nutella on bread.
Pretty much.
Yes. Exactly.
That's why I like it.
That's why. Yeah, it sounds delicious to me. Just need some bananas. Okay. Anyone else care to share on that one? Jacqueline. Hi, Jacqueline.
I tasted, what was it? Oh, I didn't write it down. Oh, butter, like the same as you, the toast and chocolate, and it was creamy. I liked it more than the previous one because it's more creamy and I like chocolates.
Yeah.
And ours wasn't tempered. I think all our chocolates got broken in shipment, and I think that's probably why it's too dry. But yeah, I wonder if did you take some other flavor? Oh, pecan
I
at the
noticed
end.
for me it seemed kind of dark chocolate and a little bit of nuttiness, and I couldn't really, I don't know. I think it was maybe a pecan flavor, just a note of it in there.
No. Yes.
Is there oh, okay. Okay, guys, how about that then? How about let's go to our 90. So 90s are a tricky one because this is from Hawaiian Crown. And you can either nail it or you cannot. But I think these guys did a pretty great job, and they're really fun for people who are sensitive to sugar or on that good old Candida cleanse, whatever they're into. 90%, and believe it or not, some chocolate makers even make 100%. So let's dig in. This is a cute bar. Does everybody like the bar? It kind of gives you an idea of what a cacao pod looks like. You can see the fruit in there. It's thick. It's very thick. So
What question? It's Pam. This bar has a little bit of pockets, air pockets inside. That's just from heat, or?
That sounds when they pour the chocolate bars. If you've ever poured, like a cake, and you're gonna shake the tray to get all the bubbles to rise to the top. Normally, it's a little tricky because, like, I see it on my bar too. Here, like the little edges. It's a little tricky to get all those air pockets out. So they run it on a vibration machine, and that should get most of them out. But with harder to fill molds, in those corners and pockets, it's a little challenging. But it's when they pour it. Yeah.
So this is Pam's sidebar. You won't see my face.
Okay.
Just because it'll break Zoom. It looks like ours got tempered by the U.S. Postal Service.
Awesome.
In the sense that it sort of filled in where they made the indent into the chocolate to put the cacao pods, and then filled it over, right? So that's where the voids come from in in our bar at least.
Oh, do you want to show us?
Sure.
So another.
I'll go up. Oh.
And we can't see the cacao pod design on the top. So I think ours probably melted a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sounds
There you
like. Oh, there you are.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's thick. Yeah, that's wrong.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's not your fault. I mean, this is just part of transportation, you know, I mean, it happens. There's not a whole lot you can do about it, but it does help, you know, change the taste.
Very
You
much
know,
so.
and yeah.
So since you guys are chocolate connoisseurs, I can tell, you can take it upon yourself to melt it and try to temper it. It'd be really fun.
How would we, what's that process?
Well, you need to heat it and cool it and heat it and keep it agitated the whole time. It's complicated, and it's the art of being a chocolate maker. But you guys should attempt it just to kind of experiment if you like. Because the other thing you could do, and this is just a good piece of information for anybody else who ever has funky chocolate that's gone out of temper, is you can just mix it into the blender with your favorite herbal tea or coffee or just water and make it into a hot chocolate. I like to make it bulletproof style. So I add butter. I like Kerrygold butter, or lately, sounds really crazy, I found this big fat block. Have you guys seen this here? It's called the Amish roll butter at Safeway. It's like the best. So anyway, I do butter and some honey and some sea salt with chocolate, and I blend that in the blender, and it's delicious. You can add collagen powder, MCT oil, different herbal tinctures or medicinal mushrooms or rose petal, whatever you want. You know, you can make your own magical hot chocolate, but it's a good use if you have chocolate that doesn't taste good on your mouth anymore and you'd rather just not throw it away, but blending it into a hot chocolate is a good use. So, anybody ready to share? We need a couple more minutes because this bar was very different. They're all so different, and I think that's part of what gets me so excited is there's such a variety and there's so many stories to tell through each bar, that the flavor depth that they can reach and the different textures and all these different makers, you know, they each kind of have their own story in each of these chocolate bars, as you can tell with their packaging and all of it. So yeah. Anybody like to share what they tasted?
I found this one the least complex of the chocolates. It was tasted, actually my initial one was a little bit of soap. And then just a straightforward chocolate, maybe a little bit of walnut, but I didn't really taste too many notes.
Yeah. And how was the texture for you, Lisa?
Not as, you know, especially coming off of this one and then the first one that we tasted was so creamy and velvety and smooth that I find the texture of this one, I would have expected it to be creamier with the cocoa butter and lecithin, but I didn't. It's pretty, yeah, still a little chalky for me.
Mm-hmm. So I point that to their refinery, you know, their refining process with that, because I get it too. It is a little powdery at the end there, and you're right, since it does have the extra, you know, smoothers in there to help emulsify it. I would also agree that I would expect it to be a little smoother there, but yeah, I didn't taste too much. I kind of wanted to hear more. What did you guys taste? Anybody else care to share?
I'll share. Actually, this is the one that other people are saying others that they tasted the citrus, but this is the one I tasted citrus and I thought it was lemony. I also got the peach and the nectarine and a golden raisin. And I thought it was creamy, but that's just sort of what I tasted.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll go. Yeah, I got that walnut as well. Lisa, like I felt, you know, it was like a bitter walnut kind of flavor and the kind of a moss. Like there's kind of like, it's airy with a little bit of like some kind of like floral note or like earthy note in there. And I also got like ash and leather, like some.
Cool. No wrong answer, man. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Stacy, did you taste the same?
No, I liked this one least of all the chocolates. I just mostly tasted a single kind of a more bitter note. Yeah, I didn't like it near as well as some of the other ones. So I didn't try it very much because there's so much other chocolate that's yummier that was right in front of me. So I just kept eating the other chocolate.
But it works. Because the other part is, remember guys, the higher the cacao percentage, the more you'll feel, right? Mm. But it's good. It's all good to have different varieties and different flavor profiles. Awesome. Thank you. And what about Mo and Ken? Moken.
Yeah, I struggled with this one. Like I couldn't wait to just like swallow it and get it off my tongue. So I think normally the obviously it's super strong in just the cacao nib flavor. I didn't taste anything else coming through except maybe burnt sugar, like something like that. It's just for somebody who likes high percentages of cacao, this is just not one of my favorites.
Got it. Thank you.
What about you? Yeah. No comment.
No comment.
What is your favorite dark chocolate, like that much percent of cacao?
You know, we have a little, we, on the mainland, we live in Santa Fe in New Mexico. And so we have a little chocolate store, Sweet Santa Fe, and they make, it's probably 85 or 90%. I don't actually, haven't paid that much attention to it. I'm actually gonna have to go figure it out what it is, but it's the one thing I go to. I can't really have sugar in my diet. So I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, let me know. I went to Santa Fe on a road trip last summer, and we went to the Art of Chocolate, Melanie's place, and that was is it Cacao Santa Fe, or it's in the plaza?
I don't know about that.
In the plaza, I think they call it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah there's a few really nice chocolatinis there. But yeah, this one was just way too strong for me. It was just overpowering on the palate, and I struggled with even getting the smoothness of it.
I hear you. Got it. Thank you. Pam, shaking her head in agreement. Pam and God.
No, not even.
Yeah.
I'm probably on the other end of that scale.
Well, he got nutty.
I'm always nutty.
Some of the nutty, more of a drier nut. He was thinking more like a Brazil nut or something, but yeah, I agree. This was my least favorite. And I like high cacao count too. I love cacao nibs. I sprinkle cacao nibs on everything. But yeah, the texture, it was very chalky, powdery, and I couldn't find a distinct kind of flavor there either. Yeah.
And you got?
What's that? Oh, and he's just very opinionated. That's
What? That's the whole idea, right? I mean, it's what you taste and you give that. So, though it was interesting because I was trying to compare it to earlier chocolates that we had tasted, because it sort of highlighted the difference. And it was easier, I think, to pick out things that I had tasted before, but I couldn't come up with a name or sort of a taste comparison. One of which was, interesting that it's during the season, but the Christmas nuts, you know, where you use the nutcracker to open up the small round nut in the bowl, and it's got that sort of dry taste to it on the inside of the shell, the skin on the nut itself. And that led me down to Brazil nuts, which have a very distinct taste, And so that was some of the earlier chocolates had a sort of a Brazil nut taste to them, not in comparison to this, which was distinct in its own way. More of a dusty, chalky kind of texture.
Yeah, this one was a lot about the texture and the mouthfeel more than the flavor, I guess. Yeah, for me.
Good, thank you. And Tiara?
It reminded me of raw walnuts. Very
That's
tonic for
similar to what
me.
God was saying.
Yes.
Yes. God's always right. Eileen and Co.
Yeah, we got yeah, definitely pretty bitter.
Coffee.
And yeah, kind of sour
Espresso.
coffee, espresso.
French
sort of
roast.
French roast.
Black pepper and curry, but I'm like so alone in that. Yeah, I don't know. I only tried it once, so I'm at the end.
You guys both sharing one bar?
No, they got
You got three.
No, we got packages, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
You all get this much. Pepper. So let me recap. I heard black pepper, curry, coffee, espresso.
yeah, just that's kind of what we got. Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. And Lisa, did we already heard from you on this one? Yeah. Okay. How about Jacqueline and Chad?
I tried several times, and second time and the third time I tasted different things. And I wrote down the first time as black tea, dill, mushroom, and cedar. And then the second time I put moss, acidity. And when someone mentioned the Brazilian nut, I felt like, yeah, that too.
Yeah, definitely the mossy, bitter kind of smoky flavor with walnuts that some of the other folks said as well.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you guys. Is it raining right now or it's not for once?
It was earlier, and now it's just.
The sky's actually kind of blue.
Well,
you probably
it's-
can't tell through the
it's
Blue
camera.
skies in Seattle? That doesn't exist.
Not in the winter.
It's gonna get dark pretty soon. Because
Yeah. It gets dark here now by 6 p.m.
lucky
Yeah.
you.
Where
I live, we've been on week 3+ of straight rain.
Oh.
I bet the sky still remains blue.
No. not in the forest. But it's good. Okay, thank you guys. Sam, you're gonna get yours, I promise. I know it. And how about you guys, Steph and Josh?
We were kind of on the same page as a lot of other people with the kind of walnut pecan, black tea, that earthy spiciness. And on my first taste, I actually got salty.
Really?
That was just on my first bite. But yeah, just a real gummy texture with it as well.
Gummy. So if I were to describe why gummy might happen, I would think that would be it's been over-conched, right? It's been ground too long, and those particle sizes start to get like clumpy and kind of like wet sand in the mouth, you know, like you're eating it and it's just been overworked. So I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm just saying that could be part of what you're experiencing. And you, Josh?
I was going to say this one looked really good, and this one didn't bloom at all. So it was
good.
It came out really well. I was just wondering if it's over roasted a little bit. I don't know.
You know, out here we have a lot of people that err on a heavier roast, and I don't personally prefer that. I'm kind of in the Manoa camp of, you know, let's deal with these chocolates and their flavor profiles and keep them intact, so that we can let those bright fruity flavor notes that makes our region so distinct kind of shine forward. And when we roast them a little too long, then it comes into this coffee-esque, you know, dark chocolate, really tannic, bitter. But primarily most of our beans here have a higher fat content, so inherently they're not as bitter as beans that might be from Mexico. but I'm kind of comparing two different things because traditionally most beans that are grown in Mexico, they're never fermented. So when we taste chocolate from Mexico, it tastes very different because those beans aren't brought to their fermentation potential. And so when we compare beans that haven't been fermented, they normally taste astringent, bitter, and it's not a full developed chocolate note. It's more an underdeveloped, just bitter and astringent, uncomfortable note where it's not like a favorable thing.
Do they just dry them in Mexico then, or what?
Yeah, I think they pull them out of the seed pod and then they just lay them out and dry them.
Really?
Oh, that's interesting.
Not all countries ferment, and so when we're talking like fine flavor cacao, most of those fine flavors would denote something other than chocolate, like something favorable, like a fruity note or a floral note, something unique. Yeah, but most of that comes from the ferment. So, Christina, what did you taste?
I'm gonna have to say this. I agree. This wasn't my favorite. I want to say it tasted like dirt, but I don't know why because I don't usually eat dirt. But yeah, it was kind of dry. Maybe here and there I got like something fruity in, but for the most part, I would just say dirt or burnt.
You don't have to feel bad about it.
You didn't make this one.
I didn't make any of it. But don't feel bad either because I wrote empty, dirty chocolate and walnut. So, we don't always have to be favorable to these chocolates. Like, I'm probably going to give these recordings to the chocolate makers so they're aware, if that's okay with everybody, just so we get them to hear what we think. And maybe they'll change and maybe they won't. It doesn't matter. But for the chocolate makers, it's good to have that feedback loop. So they're getting, this intimate connection, and most of the time they're trying to hit marks. But if the people are dictating them that want something different, we kind of help fulfill that loop. So it's nothing personal. It just kind of is. What did you taste?
I tasted green tea.
Okay.
Fig and namashoyu. So again, that soy sauce, that kind of like deep flavor.
Name, namashoyu. Yeah.
But I would also agree that like not, in Hawaii, we don't just often over roast our, cacao, but in coffee, there's an often over roasting, and there's yet to really be some coffee roasters out there exploring the light and medium roasts and really bringing out those flavors in our coffee. And it really does cover up the beautiful, expensive coffee we grow here as well. So hopefully there's an evolution of that as well.
Yeah, because the point of this tasting is we wanted to really bring together all of you guys during this strange time in life, but also, this is the 3rd annual food summit. This is my 2nd year participating. Last year I was an attendee, so I didn't really present, but I was honored that Sarah asked me to share this with you guys because there's something happening here in Hawaii, as you can tell. And I'm implying that our chocolate industry is starting to, grow. And we have a lot of interest in what's happening from people who, just like tasting chocolate. And some of you guys found this because of that, which is awesome, because without you guys, who's going to eat the chocolate? And we have a lot of chocolate makers here that are also cacao farmers, which is normally not the norm. And there's a lot of farmers wanting to really just get back to the land, which for most of us is a really important thing so that we can integrate and live a healthy, happy, sustainable, regenerative life. And with that, chocolate is a great cornerstone because it helps us feel good and it gives us energy and we get our work done. And, I drink hot chocolates in the morning as opposed to coffee. I feel really good on that. So bringing together and highlighting these different locations and chocolate makers has been a joy and such a treat. And I hope you guys learned a lot today, learned something new. I do want to ask a couple more questions to you guys if you have more information or things that you'd like to share about this experience or what worked and what didn't work. And then also if Chris and Stacy and then Josh and Steph and who else in here makes chocolate? and Sam, I want to hear from you guys also about, you know, since you have hands-on experience, you know, behind the wheel of, you know, this operation and you know what goes into it, perhaps you'd like to share, you know, what this teaches you as chocolate makers to kind of improve where you're getting your beans or how your process might dictate flavor and texture and reflect these dynamic profiles. So I know that was a lot. You're like, what is she asking? I'm asking, does anybody have feedback, first of all, for this tasting? Good, bad, ugly, sweet, sour, whatever.
Yeah, from God, this is awesome.
Thank you, God. I'm finally approved.
Yeah, I think the whole process is very easy. It's easy to sign up. The chocolate all showed up on time. Everything is good. Your notes are all very well written and the wheel. So, you have anything?
No, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Great way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seemed very well like organized and clear, and I liked the variety of chocolate. Like it was all high quality local Hawaii chocolate, but it was a variety of tastes and flavors. And like even the one I didn't like, I liked to have it to compare it to the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, I thought the process. Oh, go ahead, Susan.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just was saying, same, like I love the process of I love the opportunity to hear what everyone said, their taste buds told them, you know, and to get the comparison and be like, oh yeah, I got the walnut too, or this, that, and to see where there's nuance in it and where there's kind of like a general trend within the chocolate bar itself. I would definitely recommend for next time sending an ice pack in it or doing like a foil bubble mailer or something like that. Mine was, I think they would have arrived intact, except for it was sitting out in the sun before I opened it. But then for other people that are further away, further shipping, yeah. And I just thank you for having us.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, I was just going to say this is my first online taste testing, and I thought it was really interesting. I know I got invited to be part of an online poi pounding, but for that one, you had to have your poi and you had to have your prosper. And so I kind of like, oh, well, that was a little too complicated. But this one is you sent chocolate to me, I can eat chocolate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maddie, I want to say this is really great. I have done one prior chocolate tasting online, and this was far, and above the previous one. I think part of it is having, generous samples was a big plus. So you could actually taste and then go back and retaste if you're, besides little tiny little. The other one had very, very small samples. And the variety, the other tasting was a single estate. And so to have this range of different flavors, ranging from very fruity to very, astringent and straightforward, and from 70% up to 90, I think was very educational. And I think you're leading us through how the flavor profiles develop and what makes the differences. All those are things that, good information that was really paired well with the actual tasting. So good job. And I hope you do this again, because I would do it again.
Thank you. All right, Eileen's party.
Thumbs up.
This was really
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not quite God, but we have, we have a plurality. Yeah, it was really good. It was fun to get the variety, like everyone's been saying, definitely. And I think the whole format worked pretty well. So.
Yeah, it was a really fun activity to do during COVID for our various celebrations with not much to do,
Right.
At home. So I really appreciate having this kind of opportunity. I thought it was really cool.
Thank you guys for coming.
A lot of side conversation here too, with doing it as a group. Yeah.
And it was nice to be able to take carefully about the flavors, because so much of the time when we eat things, we do it really quickly without a lot of thought.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to slow things down and really taste things. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Guilt-free chocolate, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, you're totally on point. The more that we can slow down and just be mindful of what's happening, you know, we can consciously be aware of what we're tasting and doing and living. And especially being, you know, separated from families and, you know, having to isolate and just all these strange times. It's good to come together and celebrate chocolate and to do something unique and fun and hopefully delicious. And hopefully everybody has a nice smile on their face and we've got a little chocolate wasted and there's enough chocolate left that you can get more chocolate wasted if you want. But awesome. Thank you so much for the feedback. And how about Jacqueline and Chad? What did you guys think of all this?
Yeah, thanks. We really enjoyed this. This was our first time tasting Hawaiian chocolate, you know, in a chocolate tasting. And yeah, I think the thing I liked the most was just the range of chocolate that we tasted. And I love doing these because you don't have to love every bar, you know, but just learning about the range and the variety, it kind of opens your mind to what chocolate could be.
Yeah.
One of the things I'd love to know more about would be just about the different regions in Hawaii and does, you know, are there different beans that, you know, that change the flavor profile based on the weather, just more about the geography and how it impacts the beans. You know, some tastings where they've gone into a lot of detail about that. And it's always really interesting. So I don't know, just keep in mind.
Yeah, I'd love to dive deeper into that and include that in the educational portion for each bar because and getting the specifics on, you know, okay, what harvest was this? Was there a lot of rain that season? How does it compare to your previous harvest? Because if we want to categorize this fine food as in a niche with high quality wine, we need to have really specifics of what we're teaching people as far as, you know, all of those things that you just mentioned that play into the terroir and the dynamic flavor profiles that we taste. People want to know those things. They want to know how many days did it ferment. They want to know what temperatures did it hit. They want to know what temperatures come and which bacteria is formed during that fermentation process to create and develop hay notes or citrus notes or caramel notes. And that's where I get really nerdy because I'm like, I don't even know where to start, how to backtrack that. But I've done my own fermentations, micro ferments, and you can get amazing flavors that you can't get if you don't know what you're doing. And as far as the fermentation process, I want to touch on it a little bit because it's such a mysterious thing to most people. And I'd like to teach a workshop on that in the future because a lot of people doubt that you can do such a small micro ferment. You know, most fermentations in the world at big cacao farms, they're huge. And in Hawaii, we have like 100, 200, maybe 500 pounds of beans at a time. Where in, say, Africa or Ecuador, they're doing, you know, by the ton. And when we talk to other chocolate makers off island who want to buy beans from Hawaii, they're like, yeah, we'd love to try your beans. Your beans are fantastic, but we need 2 tons to run a batch. And everybody's like, yeah, right. I barely have 50 pounds of beans at the moment. You know, our industry is that infantile. We're that young, which is exciting because we have small chocolate makers that are just keeping their batches that small. That's all they have. There's a finite amount. And if anybody knows anything about economics, that's a good thing for these small chocolate makers, right? Because how are we going to support small farmers when they're not, how are they going to make a living when they are doing all of it?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, most of the chocolate makers that we've done tastings with, they're not the farmers. You know, they go there, they know the farmers, but it's direct trade. They're not doing the farming.
Right. And it's not made at origin. They're shipped. And if anybody's been on a boat for more than a week, you know that there's a lot of funky stuff that goes in the air and those beans are exposed and they're going to get moldy. They're going to get sprayed in port, you know, like the true reality of cacao in the world is not as miraculous and magical as I would like it to be. And here in Hawaii, we have such an opportunity to make some of the best chocolate in the world because it doesn't have to travel to another distant land to be transformed, you know? So, all
I
right.
want to make
Yeah.
a note about Manoa and with their chocolate and how their practices with farmers is that I know that you can, as a farmer, you can send them your beans and they'll send you like a 5 to 10 page write-up on evaluation of your bean. And they will work with you to work on improving your fermentation or your growing practices to get that flavor profile that they're looking for. And they also, when they have these single estate, different cacaos, they, you know, and they use those bars, they do give a percentage of the bar back to the farmer. So even though, you know, they are trying to, you know, as we say in Hawaii, be pono with their practices and, you know, the rightful action and mindful action within their business practices as they're working with farmers. So that's another really exciting, and they need more cacao and they need more farmers. And so these farms, you know, there's a lot of cacao in Hawaii that's not really utilized and really growing. So I think this is a really great opportunity with people like Manoa and other chocolate growers to start building that element of their business and really improving. And I think that, you know, in Hawaii, I don't know if some of you on this call do know this, but the majority of our farms are 5 to 10 acres. I think around over 70 to 80% are really small. So it's really important that there's different businesses that really utilize and know how to work with small independent farmers. All the large farms are mostly owned by billionaires. So there's not a lot in
Who don't live here.
Who don't live here. There's not a lot in between in this, you know, in the state. So it is really important that there's these really great business models that are coming up and highlighting different regions. So I just wanted to make that note.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, Sam, what do you think? I know it's tough because you've been teased this whole hour and a half.
No, I know. I'm very excited to get my package hopefully on Monday. No, I guess compared to other tastings I've been to, I've done one other chocolate tasting. I've done a honey tasting, which is actually very similar. I appreciate how in depth you guys went with even just telling a little bit of the backstory about who was making the chocolate. I thought that was really cool. And I'm excited, you know, based on everybody's reactions at how diverse the chocolates are going to be. I'm very excited.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. And we're excited.
No, don't worry about it. It's a long way away.
We'll watch you eat. Your reaction. All right, thank you. And how about you guys, Josh and Steph?
I really like this papers you sent with. I think they helped out quite a bit because we did another chocolate tasting in the past, and just having these references are really helpful in allowing us to take our notes. We're on our 3rd chocolate tasting book already. No, we're on our 4th chocolate tasting book already. So
what does that mean?
So we're actually going to email you a thing to look at and see what your thoughts are on it, because we got these chocolate tasting books that we bought, so you know, put all your notes in there and then you can reference it. But then I transferred over to a spreadsheet. I got like 150 bars keeping that we take. And so I really like having the reference material. I guess my only critique really is the bars, because ours, all of them were broke. 3 of them were pretty bloomed, and I got mine out of the mailbox immedately when I heard the mailman come, but seeing how it was crammed in there, he probably broke them, wedging them in there.
Yeah.
The butthead, but
so we'll put them in the box next time.
Other than that, I really love the idea of, you know, just, I know they're not all the same origin, but all Hawai'i chocolate, you know, because I'd love to do, like, we've gotten different bars from Dandelion where it's, you know, the same origin, 70%, 85%. And it's just really fun to taste how different a chocolate bar can be with just a little more sugar or a little less sugar.
Yeah.
And from the same origin, so.
Yeah. Awesome.
I also just wanted to add that I really liked the pace of your chocolate tasting. Again, I know that I wasn't necessarily participating in full, but one of the other tastings that I had done, they went so fast and you literally had like no time to digest in between, the different chocolates. So I appreciate that gave everybody time to really think about it, have a second and third bite.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
Hawaii time.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. How about you, Christina?
Yes. As a major chocolate novice, maybe I could have done with perhaps a glossary of some of these terms, single origin and that kind of stuff. But you guys are obviously very knowledgeable, passionate about what you're doing, and that definitely comes through the Zoom. And I'm gonna file this in in the category of pleasant surprises that we maybe would have not been able to participate in if COVID hadn't happened this year. When you invited me, I kind of laughed like, does she think I'm flying to Hawaii for this? Before I realized it was going to be an online thing. And then I'm like, actually, I could probably do that. So thanks for having me. And it was a nice experience. Thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for showing up. My sister's never seen me talk chocolate before, so she's like, what is this world? So it's awesome. So, okay, now we're gonna go into, what was
did Tiara go?
Oh, Tiara, sorry. And Lisa, or no, I asked Lisa. Tiara, please.
No, I mirror a lot of what everyone said. I really appreciate how you made it very intimate, included all of us, gave us time, because I've been on tastings where the samples are so small and you have like 2 or 3 seconds and then they're off to the next sample. The timing was really good, and I really appreciate, having all from Hawaii, all makers from Hawaii. I like that a lot. And I'm glad that I was able to take a look at what you sent us to. That was very helpful in, figuring out what the heck I was trying to taste, with every single bar. So thank you. And I look forward to your next event. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Cool. Well, I'm floored. I love doing these sorts of things because I just canceled all my farm tours, and I'm kind of bittersweet because I love them, but it's a different world today. And if the farm where I bring guests, might have something happen down the road and they can't deliver fruit because they've been contaminated, whatever, so tours are done. But I think more of these iterations will probably start to happen. So thank you. And the next round of questions I had for you guys were for people who like to play in the kitchen. So if you play in the kitchen, if you make chocolate, if you've never made chocolate, I would like to hear how this experience has helped inform you on what you might include or do differently for your next iteration of chocolate or kitchen magicianing. So Chris and Stacy, we'll start with you guys. And if I'm going to introduce or interrupt, if anybody wants to add, for those of you guys who are making chocolate, please also give us your tagline, your Instagram or whatever, if you want to share that. So just as a caveat. Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I just gotten into crafting chocolate on a very small scale. I just got a stone grinder, a little tabletop one. So I've been able to take some beans and turn them into nice chocolate bars, but I was getting just some couverture or a little, cacao paste and making bars out of it before. And it's been really fun. Yeah. Just to see the process of like how temperamental the temper is, it's like very much an alchemy. And so I've been using the cacao butter seed method to temper my chocolate. And that's taking already tempered 100% cacao butter that's been incubated at a certain temperature. So it's all of the type 5 crystals to then turn it into a nice snap, crisp chocolate bar. And I think that's like the main alchemy within chocolate making is how to get the temper right, because there's 6 different types of crystal that the cacao fat or cacao butter can take form, the molecules. And so type 5 is the one that you want for a nice chocolate bar that doesn't melt in your hand and has a good mouthfeel. So it's been a nice journey, and I'm starting a little chocolate company and want to just showcase some of the chocolate that you can get around here from some of the farms and some people I know that grow cacao, but I haven't really gotten to turning it from their beans into bars just yet. I'm still learning the process of just getting the temper right and getting them to mold and packaging and everything. So I'm not sure exactly what my company is going to be called yet, but you can check me out on Instagram. Right now, my Instagram is Love Maui Chris, and I posted some little videos of me grinding chocolate and eating chocolate on there. So,
And if you're a professional taste tester too.
Yeah. You know, if you want to taste test, I'm happy to send a bar. And Stacy's been trying and approves. And
I could definitely give it a thumbs up. We had a bar of his too to like compare to the other bars, and I would have given his bar either the silver or bronze in the category.
Cool. Alrighty. Who else here makes chocolate or wants to share how this may or may not have affected your magicianing? Sam?
Yeah, so I actually have an interesting chocolate journey. So I was working in the corporate world for a number of years and decided to quit and travel. And I ended up working on the Big Island on a cacao farm. And that was the first time I'd had craft chocolate.
Oh, you're Devil's Den.
I am, yes.
Chocolate. Continue, sorry.
No, it's okay. And so it was the first time I really had craft chocolate. And it blew my mind, you know, because it was so fruity and it's so delicious and not at all like the Hershey bars that I grew up eating. So from that on, I just, you know, went full force into learning more about making chocolate. And just last year I started my own company. It's on Instagram. I'm at Devil's Den Confections.
It's beautiful.
So thank you. So yeah, I miss Hawaii, to be honest. Not just obviously living there for a bit, but also the cacao. And I miss those fruity qualities. I haven't really found that. I found it kind of in a Guatemalan cacao that I've been sourcing. But yeah, my advice for other chocolate makers is really just to find different origins to source from. You know, there are sources out there like Chocolate Alchemy or Meridian Cacao or Uncommon Cacao, and just try different sources. And the thing I'm struggling with right now is just kind of the roasting, and because I'm, you know, just using a regular oven. I don't have a fancy roaster yet, so just trying to nail that, you know, dial that in. Because that also, you know, aside from the fermentation, once the chocolate maker gets it, I think that's where we can impart a lot of flavor.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So I totally brain farted, as you saw. Sam sent me a message and she said that she really wanted to come to the chocolate tasting because of exactly that she moved to the Big Island for a period of time and lived on a cacao farm. And that was what jump-started you into Devil's Den Confections. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a sweet story. Have you tried Madagascar beans?
I haven't tried them, tried making them. I used to work for a different chocolate company and they used Madagascar.
Yeah, Madagascar beans, if anybody doesn't know, they're pretty similar to Hawaii. They're very fruity and unique. Also, what is that country called? Is it Tonga? I think Tonga also has super rare fruity beans like Hawaii. If you can,
I didn't even know you can get cacao from Tonga. That's awesome.
All right, and Steph and Josh, what do you guys think about your chocolate making journey and with your spreadsheets and all that? That's awesome.
Well, it's fun that you just mentioned Madagascar because we just roasted those and are waiting to turn those into chocolate. So we tend to like the fruitier chocolate, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, Madagascar is super fruity.
I think just the more chocolate that we taste and are exposed to just really helps with not only us honing in on the taste, but also we tend to under roast and, you know, just things like that to bring out those flavors. So it's fun to get just a different feel for how everyone does something. There's no right or wrong to it, which makes it so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, did you watch Manoa, Dylan, and Dandelion? They had like
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, we watched it the other night, and at the end of the video,
You guys, what he's talking about is on YouTube from Manoa Chocolate. They have a YouTube channel called Craft Chocolate TV. It's awesome. And he's referring to an episode with Dandelion Chocolate's maker, what's his name?
blank, yeah.
Greg. So
I think Greg.
Yeah.
So at the end, they ask him like what craft chocolate means to them, and the long story short is craft chocolate doesn't really have a specific meaning. It is whatever you want it to be, and I think that's the beautiful thing about it is keep it just, craft chocolate's about high quality chocolates, but it's keeping it whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be narrowed down to some category, and there is no right or wrong. You taste what you taste, and everybody likes what they like, and just try to do high quality, sustainable stuff. And it's fun to just hear the passion that people have for. So we're talking about chocolate bars, for crying out loud.
For 2 hours. I've talked about chocolate bars on my tours for 4 hours, and people still want more.
Do it all day.
Oh, I bet, yeah. And just even with the 2 ingredient versus 3 ingredient, and I mean, there's just so many ways to do it, and it all tastes good. So.
Yeah. And a little caveat, a little backstory here about Steph and Josh. I was supposed to host a chocolate retreat last month or this month, and with COVID, I was like, there's no way. So I'm glad that we stayed in touch and you guys could show up and come and participate, and we can see each other and kind of share these fun bonding chocolatey experiences. So
We'll be on the Big Island someday.
Yeah, because you dedicated your travel experiences from here on out to just being based on where chocolate is, yeah?
We'll try to find a factory. We're going to go into Askinosie in Springfield, Missouri. And
hey, that's where she's from.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah, a chocolate maker. They're called Askinosie, if you guys know them. They're great. So, all righty. Well, I think if anybody has any other questions, now would be the time. Otherwise, yes, Jacqueline.
I have a question. Done several tastings, and they all start from the high percentage to the lowest percentage. Is there a reason why you did it that way?
Intuitively, it made sense to start low and go high, just so that you could taste more as the sugar was dissipating. I think going from darker to less sugar or more sugar, either way works. It's just preference. With this tasting, I think I was just really excited about the Manoa bar. So I wanted to start with it, but maybe that worked against us because then we all started with the best, or supposedly the best, according to the award system. And I don't know. So maybe I should save the best for last next time. I don't know. It's all different. What do you guys think?
Oh, we're not. They're all good. I was just curious because it was just different. And this is the fun of it. Like everybody has their own style and just different, and it's fun. I love it. We had a really good time, and it was nice because you seem to know the makers, and I like that.
Yeah, it's been fun because I'm an independent. I'm not a chocolate maker. I don't have any specific alliances with anybody. I just want to share the goodness of Hawaiian chocolate, and that has been really fun because I've been to a lot of farms here and I know a lot of chocolate makers, and some of them are really great at what they do and some are better than others. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But it's important that for me, I kind of have an understanding of the educational area so that we can all kind of rise and grow together. Because the other thing that we kind of hadn't even really touched on, Sarah mentioned that Hawaiian cacao or Hawaiian coffee, Kona coffee, can kind of sometimes be over roasted. And for their brand of just Kona coffee, that sells itself. But in those different arenas of different coffee farms, you know, because we have a couple different crossovers between the wine industry, the coffee industry, and I'm going to say it, the cannabis industry. So with these, and I mean the small craft booze industry too, right? So these are all small, super niche, high-end, nerdy foods that people really want to know the ins and outs of what's in them, what makes them, and why are they so great. And with cacao as a brand, Hawaiian cacao, or as I should politically correctly call it, cacao from Hawaii, because saying Hawaiian cacao, and it's a little, in my personal opinion, a little backwards, because technically we can't say it's Hawaiian cacao. It implies that it was grown by a Hawaiian, and that's politically incorrect. It's a moot point, and I don't know where to go with that. But the point is that as a brand of Hawaiian cacao or cacao from Hawaii, we need to uphold high standards so that our brand doesn't get demolished by bad product, right? That would be terrible for our industry if bars reach people off the island, and like you guys, had you not had this backstory to each one of these bars and the understanding of who made them and why it comes out like this, because we're all learning together in this big experiment of cacao in Hawaii, that if you didn't have the educational background to these bars and you tasted this, you might never want to taste cacao from Hawaii again. And that would be sad, because we have such great bars here and so many good beans that the more that we kind of learn and grow together, the more that we can pass on this knowledge to our friends and our family, and hopefully make it back to the chocolate maker so that they can understand what the public wants and what they don't want, and how to treat the product correctly so that the genetic potential can really shine and not be you know, covered up or muddled by poor practices. Because in the wine industry, when you're tasting a wine, what are you looking for? You're looking for what's wrong with it. You're looking for, you know, off notes or a ferment that went bad, or things that aren't meant to be in that flavor profile. And with cacao, it's often people are just so giddy and excited about it that they'll try and eat anything, which is great. But if it hasn't been potentially treated properly or roasted to kill off pathogens, or their fermentation got really unhealthy, you don't want to eat that chocolate. And we definitely don't want it branded. Oh, there's my niece. We don't want it branded with Hawaii cacao if it tastes like feet. So I am the Barefoot Chocolatini, and I don't want to eat feet chocolate. Not even me.
Have you tasted feet before?
I mean, no, I'm not going to tell you, but no. I'm not going to let my sister tell you either. But we don't want gross chocolate, and we definitely want better chocolate, and we want people knowing how to make the best chocolate. So with leaders in our industry like Manoa, you know, they're setting the bar. And in order to do that, we need good beans. So if anybody wants to grow beans, sell beans, source beans, you should, because we need them, and we need really good quality beans. And we need people like Chris and people like Sam and people like all of you guys to be doing your things with these beans so that we can keep learning and growing and improving our industry and really continue to invest in what's here. You know, there's such potential. So with that, if you guys would like to order any chocolate through me, I am really professional and I don't have a website, so please email me. I'm working on my website. It was hacked, so that's really fun, and I get to rebuild it and make it nice and pretty. So until that's ready, you guys should all have my email address. It's literally just barefootchocolatini.com or @gmail.com. And a barefoot chocolatini is a yogini who eats a lot of chocolate. So that's me. And thank you all so much for coming. It sounds like everybody's favorite bar was what I guess the first one. Show me your favorite bar.
This was my favorite. This was my favorite. Look at the Manoa. Everyone got the ball.
She liked a different one.
I did.
She liked no.
Honoka'a.
Honoka'a.
Okay. Awesome.
Oh, all three.
All right. And Jacqueline, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have one more question. Do you sell cocoa nibs from Hawaii?
It's coming together. So right now, part of the reason why my website's not up is it is legitimately hacked, but I am essentially working to get a gift shop up and running, more chocolate tastings to do these sorts of kits, chocolate flights, as well as being a wholesale distributor for beans and bars. So, and retail, obviously, but that's coming. I do have some plans to white label other people's products, and I'm excited about that because there's a lot of really good chocolate stuff here. So yeah, it is coming. And I did also want to highlight, Jacqueline, do you want to let the group know where you're from and what you grew up around?
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I asked for the cocoa nibs. I was born and raised in Venezuela, and every time I taste chocolate with cocoa from Venezuela, I can taste it, and it reminds me of home. So I like to try nibs from other places because it's just different, and it helps me compare the cacao. And yeah, so this was really cool for me. I like it. I enjoy it.
Awesome.
It's just different, and I like that. I didn't taste the Madagascar. It just tasted different.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a different environment where it grows, so. But.
Definitely. Cool. Okay, guys. Any last words? Or I think we're about pow here, 2:55. Lisa?
Maddy, I would love to see, what I've noticed is that there really aren't too many of our local island growers on this. And I think that what you did would be very valuable for our growers to understand, what they're growing and what's happening to it and what makes a good quality chocolate. And, just from the meetings that we have at EHJM, you can tell that the local growers could use, I think, some education and maybe also some sort of pipeline to Manoa to get the chocolate quality of all our local growers better. So I'm wondering if maybe a little more outreach and maybe with Sarah's, connections, maybe some grant funding to pull together the growers to a workshop like this, or like some other workshops like that Colin Hart and other people have done to really put the local growers through cacao school. Because the cacao boot camps that have been run by some of the, the other growers, they're really, really expensive, and I think it keeps people from going. And is there a way to make it affordable so that more growers can go to cacao school, cacao boot camp, and get their cacao quality up and get their finishing, especially, to this quality? Because we do have good chocolate here, but yet, we know so many farmers who are, they got their beans, and then where do I send, then they send them to whoever, and then it becomes whatever. And it seems almost a waste that these good quality beans aren't turning into this.
I agree. It's sad. I mean, for all the farms that I've been to, a lot of people, they have a few trees, they have abandoned trees, and those pods, they never see their light of day. They don't get made into a bar. So I agree. There needs to be a better collection system, and people need to understand that the pods are worth their weight in gold and treat them as such and really invest. Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a couple smaller chocolate companies on Maui that make bars, and it'd be fun to get them featured. Also, I don't know if you've ever tried Maddy Chocolate on Oahu. Matt's company over there, and that they've got some really nice bars too. And
yeah, they make great bars.
But I would be interested in trying to get another tasting and showcase some Maui ones. I know that the Kuia just opened up a huge factory over here, and that's cool.
Yeah, I spent a week on their farm in last June. I did a Pauuilo Chocolate. They did a training with Dylan from Manoa Chocolate and Dan O'Doherty, who is the world-renowned, globetrotter for cacao farms. And we were on the Kuia Estate farm for about a week harvesting and just learning all about, their techniques and all their different varieties that Dan has collected from around the world and grafted onto all their trees. We toured that factory. It's for those who don't know what he's saying Ku'ia. It's Ku'ina, and yeah, you can go to MauiChocolate.com, exactly. And they have a whole huge factory. It's fantastic. They're super funded and they got it going on. A lot of their cacao in their drinks, I believe, is from Ecuador. Is that what they're doing? And then they're going to make like small pillow chocolates for hotels. And I think their main shtick was they're going to freeze dry local fruits like citrus, lemongrass, lilikoi, chili, lavender, and whatnot, and add those into their chocolates. So that's I like that technique. I would have done that if I were a chocolate factory. And I think getting them onto pillows in hotels, I mean, at the hotels, I don't know what's happening there, but that's a great touch. If I were to stay in a hotel in Hawaii and they grow chocolate and coffee there, I would expect as a guest that I would be eating local chocolate and coffee, right? And I think that's kind of the biggest misnomer, unfortunately, on our islands is people come and they expect that, and then lo and behold, it comes from Indonesia or Australia or out of a can. And anyway.
Yeah.
But Ku'ia Estate, what other chocolates are over there? I know Maui Gold or Hana Gold.
Yeah, and there's just a couple other like small farms that are making their own bars. I mean, very small micro batch stuff. And
Yeah, I'd totally be interested. I mean, I'd like to do a chocolate tasting like this per island. And this one, Sarah and I, we originally wanted it to be chocolate from every island. And just the way that it came out, we had 4 bars from Big Island, which was awesome because our island has the most cacao because we have the most land. And we have really cheap, not really cheap real estate, but we have affordable real estate compared to the other islands. So we'll always have the most beans for the most part. But as we all know in Hawaii, it's not about quantity, as Nat from Madre has pointed out, it's about quality. So we'll never win with majority, we'll always win with our quality. And anyway, I could talk about this for hours. So I'm gonna just thank you guys again. And please send me your orders through my Barefoot Chocolatini at gmail.com. And if you'd like to learn more about what I'm doing, please follow me on Instagram, Barefoot Chocolatini, YouTube. I have a few videos there. I'm gonna, once I get some stronger internet, I'll get some more videos. And I hope to see you guys again in real life and see you on perhaps the next event. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, the Hawaii County. Thank you for Susan and Tiara showing up also from the county, and every single one of you for receiving your bars. And again, sorry, Sam, but they will be there soon.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I think it's really sweet that I know all of you to some extent. Maybe I haven't met you yet, Pam, but anyway. So I hope you guys can all stay in touch with each other if you'd like, somehow, some way, get each other's Instagrams like Maui Chris and Steph, I don't know if you want to drop yours, and whoever else has an Instagram that they want to share, please go ahead. You can put it in the comments or say it now. And
Yeah, thank you, everyone. The food summit this year was about 2 months long, different things. It's usually a one-day event. And so this is kind of highlighting the end and celebrating, we're using it to celebrate and enjoy cacao together. And so whether you're on Hawaii or celebrating on the mainland with us, we really thank you for coming and appreciating what's growing here and what's being made. There's definitely lessons learned. It's the first time about shipping chocolate. So if there's chocolate coming to you, if you're buying more, there's definitely,
we'll make
work. Some notes on getting it out there to you, and hopefully better form, not broken or bloomed, but always a learning process. So thanks for bearing with us with that.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you're a little chocolate wasted. And if you're not, I hope you still have chocolate left and you can go have a party with your friends. And until next time, thank you so much. And aloha.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Maddy.
you.
Aloha.